Hello. I invite you to continue our series of calm reflections on the book Our Home by André Luiz, a spiritual account of life after death and the journey of consciousness. Chapter 9 is titled, The Problem of Nourishment. At first glance, this chapter may seem surprising. Because can we really speak of food, supply systems, and reforms in the spiritual world? And yet, it is precisely here that one of the most important lessons of this book is revealed. Enchanted by the beauty of the gardens of our home, André Luiz asks Lísias for a moment of rest. The peace that fills his inner world encourages reflection. Observing the immense work, the order, and the harmony of the colony, André begins to wonder. How does the system of supply function here? Why has he never heard of a ministry of economy? Lísias patiently explains that in the past these structures were far more complex. However, the current governor decided to simplify everything that too closely resembled purely material life. Supply was reduced to a simple system of distribution, under the direct supervision of the governor's office. It was a difficult reform, but a salutary one. Lísias explains that many newly arrived spirits were unable to abandon their former earthly habits. They demanded lavish meals, stimulating drinks, and sensual pleasures. Only the ministry of divine union remained free from these problems. The other ministries struggled for a long time with resistance, misunderstanding, and complaints. Yet the governor did not yield. He did not punish. He did not condemn. He explained. Assistance from higher spheres was organized. Instructors arrived to teach new knowledge, the science of breathing, and the assimilation of life-giving principles from the atmosphere. The reforms lasted for years. They were accompanied by protests, illnesses, and even public accusations. The Ministry of Assistance was often overwhelmed by spirits convinced that the new system weakened them. Scholars from the Ministry of Enlightenment, attached to earthly concepts of proteins and carbohydrates, were unable to abandon their old patterns of thought. They sent reports, analyses, calculations, and the governor listened patiently, always consulting the Ministry of Divine Union. At a certain point, however, resistance turned into a real threat. In the former Department of Regeneration, serious disturbances arose. Less developed spirits, encouraged by the rebellion of others, gave in to addictive practices. Dangerous breaches appeared, allowing an attempted incursion by dark crowds from the umbral. When the alarm was raised, the governor did not lose his composure. He made firm, yet just decisions. The Ministry of Communication was temporarily closed. Isolation cells were activated for the most resistant spirits. Assistance to the lower regions was suspended. And for the first time, the city's magnetic defenses were activated. There was no battle. There was no retaliation. There was defense of order. For more than 6 months, the colony sustained itself exclusively through breathing, and water enriched with solar, electric, and magnetic elements. Then all came to understand what it means to face the indignation of a spirit that is gentle, yet just. After this period, victory followed. The Ministry of Enlightenment acknowledged its error. Reconstruction began. It is said that the governor wept with emotion when he witnessed this collective understanding. The city returned to harmony. Regeneration became a fully established ministry. From that moment on, more material forms of nourishment became available only where they were truly needed. In all other areas, simplicity prevails. Temperance. Balance. Today, all recognize that the governor's apparent severity was, in truth, an act of love. It reduced physical expression and strengthened spirituality. Lísias brings his account to an end, and André Luiz sinks into deep reflection. Chapter 9 teaches us that true spiritual liberation requires renunciation of excess. That even in the spiritual world, attachments can become prisons. And that simplicity is not a loss, but a step toward freedom. In the next chapter, André will draw even closer to active participation in the life of our home. The journey continues. See you soon.